The U.S. Supreme Court hearing arguments in two major cases yesterday that could determine the future of affirmative action in higher education across America. Despite 40 years of legal precedent supporting consideration of race in college admissions, a conservative advocacy group is suing UNC Chapel Hill and Harvard University, asking the justices to issue a blanket ban on the practice. But not everyone agrees with the court's potential ruling. Our next guest, Chelsea Wang, sophomore at Harvard University, joins me now to discuss why she supports affirmative action. Chelsea, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
So you were on the ground there in D.C., rallying alongside fellow students and inside the court for yesterday's hearing. Tell us about why you feel so compelled to actually be here in the nation's capital and to be present for that.
Yeah, I think it's particularly important to see Asian Americans advocating for affirmative action because we occupy such a central role in this particular lawsuit. SFFA's argument implies that Asian Americans are monolithically disadvantaged by affirmative action and that we are all opposed to affirmative action, but we know that that's not true. 69% of Asian Americans support affirmative action, and in going to DC, I want to play my part in breaking the stereotype that Asian Americans are politically inactive and that we don't care about anything but our own personal gains.
So let's talk a little bit more about that. Students for Fair Admissions, a multiracial and multi-ethnic group of 22,000 students and parents, are the ones alleging that Asian Americans are being illegally discriminated against based on race when applying for colleges. So as a Chinese American, they're at Harvard, the center of this story, right? Do you believe that there is merit to this? And have you felt discriminated against based on your race when applying to colleges?
I can't say that I have. And if we look at the numbers and if we look at the analysis, we know that that's just not true. Dr. Card, he conducted a pretty rigorous analysis of the admissions process, and he found that the effect of Asian American ethnicity on an applicant's likelihood of admission is statistically indistinguishable from zero. And therefore, 5 out of the 6 years that he analyzed, the effect of being an Asian American woman like me actually has a positive effect on an applicant's likelihood of admission.
So, as you know, not everyone supports affirmative action. So let's take a listen to just some of those who are against the consideration of race in college admissions, and I want to get your response.
If you don't include race, it's a more holistic review. You kind of get to see the student academically, what they really are. You read their personal statement, you read their, you see their SAT scores, you see a lot of things, you see their supplements. I think that itself should say more about the student than the race. And I think if they were to eliminate that, having to fill in a box for race, I think a lot more people like myself would actually be in those schools.
I just feel like once we remove that factor from the equation, I think it'll be more of an even playing field for people who come underprepared, have that, talent to really make it and have the opportunity to go there.
What do you think, Chelsea?
Yeah, I think race is inextricable from a lot of people's stories. We know that students of color, Black and Latinx students in particular, don't have the same educational opportunities that other students do. They tend to go to underfunded, segregated schools. They are perceived differently by teachers, whether consciously or subconsciously. And that actually disadvantages students over their entire educational process. And considering race in the admissions process is one small thing we can do to mitigate those impacts and contextualize all of those factors. We also know that seemingly objective metrics like the SAT and GPAs, they're not actually as objective as they seem. And considering race in the admissions process is essential to understanding its impact on people's qualifications leading up to that point.
What about the alternatives that are being discussed? And you even heard it mentioned there by one of the other young students about, instead of checking the box, incorporating it in your essay.
That is something that people currently do. But as we've seen from states where affirmative action is no longer allowed, like, for example, in the UC system, we have seen a decrease in diversity on campus, and they've tried many different ways to bring diversity to their campus, but so far, we just haven't been able to see the same kind of diversity. So for now, affirmative action seems like it's still necessary to maintain diversity.
We'll continue to follow this, of course, from the steps of the Supreme Court. We'll bring you back, Chelsea. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.